Here we go then. The carts are heading out onto the circuit for our lightweight cadets for Group A. So let's talk a little bit about the format as they get going. It's an 11-minute qualifying session. All of the qualifying. In fact, I'll make that even simpler for everybody. Every session is 11 minutes. Okay, all qualifying, all finals, or pre-final, or everything is 11 minutes. It keeps the format nice and simple. Even the practice sessions that we just had are 11 minutes in length. And we're going to have 3 groups for each class. Okay, so this is Group A of the lightweight cadets. We'll then go into Group A of the lightweight juniors. Then we'll cycle back to lightweight cadets Group B, lightweight juniors Group B, and then the respective Group Cs. Okay, so the grids or the entry list, sorry, for each of the classes have been split into 3 groups. Now that's been done at random. Okay, so the fact that a driver, if you're tuning in for us on this one, and you know we are. If you are joining us for the first time watching Club 100 Juniors and Cadets, a very warm welcome to you. Please, if you're able to do so, then get up onto the comments on YouTube as well, and let us know who you're tuning in to support. It'd be lovely to have some interaction with yourselves on this Saturday of racing. This is our first broadcast round of the championship, so let's just make sure that we're through on those formats. So the groups, as I say, randomly allocated, and also you get a randomly allocated kart within that as well. So the drivers do not carry, they don't have the same kart throughout the whole day. It's an arrive and drive karting series, as Club 100 always is, and so you get a randomly allocated kart just to ensure that there's fairness that way. And the Club 100 team do a fantastic job of maintaining the even competition of these karts. Obviously, a crucial aspect of providing an arrive and drive series is to have, equal machinery, and Club 100 do a fantastic job of maintaining that. So yeah, they've all been allocated into a group. They've all got a random kart within that group. We're going to go out in those groups A, B, and C. The fastest time overall across all 3 sessions will get pole position on the pre-A final grid. Okay, so we maintain those groupings of 3 when we go into the pre-finals. It's just that by that point you'll be in your group C, B, or A based on the pace that you've shown in qualifying. So here you're in a group just randomly allocated, but we will form into a C pre-final grid, a B pre-final grid, and an A pre-final grid. And the A grid will be the fastest 18 drivers across all of the group sessions. Okay, so you can kind of think of it as one massive qualifying session where all the drivers are on track at once. It's just we can't physically do that because then we'd have getting on for 60 drivers on track at once. We can't do that. So you've got those 3 groups going out, but it is going to be the fastest 18 drivers across any of those groups. So say Group A is, by pure chance, by pure coincidence, has the 18 fastest drivers in it, then they would all be on the pre-A final grid. It's never happened that way, but that's how it would theoretically go.
Yes, and the only caveat to that is if the weather changes.
Yes.
Naturally, someone who sets their time in the dry is going to be faster than someone who sets their time in the wet.
Yes, indeed.
And in that instance, race control will declare that there has been a change in conditions, and then they will take the top drivers from each of the 3 sessions rather than going through and taking the fastest overall.
Indeed.
However, today we are not expecting any changes in the weather. It's looking like it's going to be nice and sunny all day, and we shall stick with what you just described.
Absolutely. So, but a good point to note, definitely, as the season goes forward. That rule is important to maintain the fairness across qualifying in changing weather conditions. If you're supporting a particular driver as well, I recommend making a little mental note of their race number. They will carry that race number throughout the whole season. Okay, so Peter Lee, who in the early phases here is setting the pace, and as I say that Ellis Cox goes faster in the 38, Peter Lee will be the 89 all season long. Ellis Cox will be the 38 all season long. That number isn't exclusive to other classes. There may be another driver with the number 38 in the lightweight juniors, okay? But it's still good to have a mental note of the driver's number, because you will know that when the cadet lightweights are out in any form this season, the number 38 will be Ellis Cox. Okay, that's a really good thing to note. And sometimes, in the heat of the moment, if something's happening really quickly on commentary, obviously we might only get chance to mention that the cart number is involved in something. So it's helpful. It'll help you hone in on a driver that you support. Speaking of which, I'll get this bit of housekeeping out of the way right now. If you have a spare device or monitor available, I recommend to supplement your Alpha Live broadcast. Head over to live.alphatiming.co.uk, click on Club 100. That's live.alphatiming.co.uk. Alpha Timing, not Alpha Live, Alpha Timing. Click on Club 100, and you'll be able to see the full timing screen, which will give you the full timing tower. It'll give you information about the race status, the time that's remaining, any messages coming in from race control, including penalties. Hopefully we won't see too many. And then the track map with the driver tracker. Okay, and you'll be able to see where a particular driver you're supporting. If you want to see more details about a driver's lap times, you can click on their name and get details that way. So loads of fantastic information there at live.alphatiming.co.uk/Club100. Let's say you've just seen a driver you support in a particular race and you want to see the confirmed result. That will be at results.alphatiming.co.uk and click on Club 100. That will allow you to see, well, actually not just race results, it allows you to see confirmed grids. There's that. And yes, confirmed results. And also you can see how the championship standings sit there as well. Speaking of which, I'm going to use that as a segue.
Love that. Fantastic. Seamless.
Thank you. What is the situation in the championship? We're only at round 2, but round 1, the spoils really went to Matteo Ehrenfeuchter, who took the win in both the pre-A final and the A final at Rye House. That circuit really working well for Matteo there. He leads the championship. Miles Harrison, courtesy of a 3rd place and a 2nd place in the pre-final and final respectively. Last time out, he sits 2nd. That's the driver in the number 22. Driver who finished in that position, 2nd place in the championship last year. And then Elijah Hazelwood sits 3rd in the standings. That's the position he finished the championship last year. He lines up 3rd, having got a 2nd in the pre-final and a 7th in the A final. So that's the top 3 coming into today. Right now, it's good that we turn our attention to the circuit itself right now, though, because we're seeing one of the key aspects here of GYG, I think, which is the slipstreaming. Okay, we've seen these lap times coming in from Ellis Cox. We saw them from Peter Lee. We saw them from Reece Cranstoun now, who is in that provisional pole position. This is the slipstream effect, and a few of the drivers we spoke to this morning spoke about this. This circuit, more than most that we visit, on this straight right here in particular, to the Dragon Straight, you can see, in fact, Alex Cox is doing it right there. You can see the driver with the black helmet was just ducking his head down there. He's trying to optimize the slipstream effect that he gets up that Dragon Straight, because here more than anywhere that I can think of, maybe Shennington, but you get a real advantage in that slipstream here, and it makes a big difference. So what would usually look like a driver having a lot of traffic on the qualifying run is actually playing to their advantage here.
Absolutely. We call it shrimping in the business.
We do.
As you kind of form that shape that a shrimp would take, approaching the fetal position. And it's human DRS, isn't it, Howard? You duck down to reduce the air resistance going up that big long straight. You're going uphill as well, which doesn't help. And North Wales is, quite frankly, particularly windy.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the thing, because at the end of the Dragon Straight, which you'll note isn't quite a full straight, there's a sort of right kink in it. As you come up this hill round here, round to Spoon, the wind can really catch you as you come over the rise. So if you've got an advantage, if you're in someone's slipstream and someone else is taking that air buffeting against them, it's exactly the same principle as you get in cycling, where the person at the front of the peloton, gets hit with all that, and everyone else sort of falls behind them, and then they swap around after a bit. It's the same kind of principle. Whoever's at the front of that will get hit with that wind, and then there's an opportunity for those behind to just not have as much of a disruption to the behaviour of the cart as they come into that corner.
Oh, absolutely. And it's worth pointing out, as you said, about the right-hand kink. It's very much not a straight. It is an overtaking opportunity.
Yes.
If you slipstream behind the driver in front and pop out at the right time, you could even go around the outside of that right-hand kink. As they take the full force of the oncoming wind, you can use it as a slingshot to go around them, as many good drivers have done so in the past.
Fun fact, I don't even really want to admit it, but I did once here, because of that right-hand kink, I was shrimping on the straight, and I managed to crash because I wasn't looking where the track went. I literally went straight on at that kink,
Yeah.
and then realised, as I was looking down through my chassis, that the tarmac turned to grass. So, top tip, drivers, if you are going to engage in the shrimping, learn where the kink is, or don't look so, dead stock down that you literally don't see. But anyway, that's why I'm not. That's why I don't really visit the podium very often. In fact, we sort of visited it for the start of our paddock walk earlier, just to see what it felt like, really. But that'll be going out at lunchtime, by the way, if you spoke to us at that point. We've hit the end of the session. Then the checkered flag is out. The drivers will be allowed to finish this lap. And as I mentioned, Ellis Cox and Reece Cranston have really been setting the pace here. But it's Ellis Cox in the 38 who, at the moment, is on that provisional pole. Obviously, when they cross the line, we can't say it is pole. There's two more groups to come and have a go at this lap time. But at the moment, that lap time of a 52.578 is as good as it gets. Can anyone beat it this time around? Well, they're tripping over each other maybe a little bit there through Devil's Elbow. So it's going to be interesting to see, has anyone got the pace? And Ellis Cox is at the back of this group, bear in mind. What are the times like this time around? They all cross the line, and I didn't see anyone with an improvement there. So I think they did perhaps trip over themselves in that last sector a little bit. So Ellis Cox it is, who finishes the first of the qualifying sessions here at Glanny Gores in that provisional pole slot with a 52.578. That is the time for drivers to beat in Groups B and C in the cadets.
Really impressive stuff from Ellis Cox. He was quickest in his test this morning and in practice. He told me that at the end of the paddock walk. And there he goes with topping the timings in his first session that counts. Really interested in that when you look around the 53.3 mark. We talked about the drivers going through to certain finals. Obviously, it's not quite the top 6 go through with this. It's the fastest overall lap times, but around about 6th position, Howard, we're looking, in fact, from 4th all the way down to 9th. We've got 6 drivers who are within a 10th of a second. So if we see similar things like that, it's going to be very, very close to who gets in that pre-A final and who heads into the pre-B. It's tight.